Esports and gaming as a whole has been growing a lot, with some of the biggest events like EVO and the Overwatch League finals being broadcast on channels like DisneyXD and ESPN. It's clear that esports events can do well on TV. But what about an entire network dedicated to video games? While it's been done in the past with networks like G4 TV and shows like the Electric Playground, the media landscape has changed a lot in the last 15 or so years. Media has moved online, and cable television is seen as boomer technology. But that didn't deter a group of industry insiders from coming together to try and bring gaming back to TV. This is VENN. The Video Game Entertainment and News Network, better known as VENN, was founded on September 17th, 2019 by Ariel Horn, the former head of esports content at Riot Games, and Ben Kusin, a former global director of new media at Vivendi Games, a company that previously owned Blizzard Entertainment. The network's goal was to cater to a younger audience with a focus on gaming and pop culture content. In a press release, Kusin said, "Video games continue to define the culture of today's youth. Streamers, casters, content creators, esports athletes. These are our new celebrities." VENN is giving this generation an overdue home and a heartbeat, with bi-coastal broadcast studios incorporating live audiences, premium production values, a 24/7 linear offering, and engaging and innovative formats that elevate and promote a culture traditionally overlooked by broadcast media. Before even airing a show, the idea of a dedicated TV network for gaming caught the attention of many in the industry who believed in its potential. In their first round of funding, VENN raised $17 million, securing notable investors like Mark Merrill, Mike Morhaime, and Kevin Lin, the co-founders of Riot Games, Blizzard Entertainment, and Twitch, respectively. While some might see it as a gamble, after all, it's cable television in the era of the internet, it also kind of makes sense why so many big names would be willing to invest in a gaming network. Since the days of G4 TV, cultural perspectives around gaming have changed a lot. Instead of being some niche thing confined to basements and card stores, gaming now has widespread appeal across almost all demographics. On top of this, the gaming industry has seen insane growth over the past 10 years, and now seemed like the perfect time to gamble on bringing gaming content back to network television. On top of this, VENN was set to launch right as the COVID-19 pandemic was hitting its peak. And as countries were shutting down, people would be forced to stay at home. While it meant that production costs to create content might be a little bit more expensive, it also meant that hopefully more people would be sitting at home watching TV. As VENN's official launch approached, the network began revealing some of the talented people who would host their shows. The initial lineup included content creators like the Sushi Dragon and Austin Show, esports broadcasters like James Dash Patterson and Matt Mr. X Morello, and more mainstream talent like Chrissy Costanza and Sasha Grey. On August 5th, 2020, VENN Beta was launched, and they began broadcasting on streaming platforms like Twitch and YouTube, as well as on smart TVs like Roku and Samsung TV. Initially, VENN's programming was aimed at a more general audience. Nothing too niche, just regular television programming with a little bit more gaming thrown in. While this formula could work in theory, there was some clear overlap at times as certain shows blurred together. For example, VENN Arcade Live and Guest House were both shows that relied heavily on special guests who played games with either the audience or the host of the shows. Having multiple shows that felt the same wasn't great for viewership numbers. Luckily, VENN also had some unique and engaging content as well. Gray Area was a talk show featuring content creator Sasha Grey and underground hip-hop artist Dumbfounded, who had intimate conversations with viewers and each other on topics like relationships and life goals. There was the game show, Dare Package, which was similar to Fear Factor in that contestants would perform kind of disgusting acts like eating scorpions.
Go! Eat! Go ahead!
Oh God, stop!
Oh my...
This show did especially well due to the inclusion of popular guests like Mizkif and Esfand, among many others. Many of these shows were reliant on audience interaction, mainly through Twitch chat and VENN's official Discord. Luckily, VENN's Twitch channel had a solid start, and its initial broadcast had a peak concurrent viewer count of nearly 11,000 viewers. Unfortunately, that count would not hold. Pretty soon, their average viewer count went from around 1,200 down to below 700, and that trend would continue in the months to come. While the initial lack of unique programming played a large part in it, another reason for the viewership drop is that creating enough content to maintain a 24/7 content cycle is pretty much impossible. For this reason, VENN had to rerun a lot of its programming throughout the day. And when most of your programming relies on audience interaction through Twitch chat and Discord, like we mentioned earlier, reruns become pretty uninteresting. On the other hand, people watching online tend to watch VODs on Twitch and YouTube because it lets them skip around without having to be locked in for a full hour. It's a real lose-lose situation. Compared to other esports and gaming channels, VENN was struggling. On the YouTube side of things, most of VENN's videos were struggling compared to other esports and gaming channels, yours truly included. And it became clear that VENN still had a long way to go before it could compete on YouTube. Despite somewhat concerning viewership numbers, in October of 2020, VENN had raised an additional $26 million after another round of financing. The added investments brought VENN to a total of $43 million in the bank. Now, with even more millions to work with, and led by an impressive leadership group that included a 4-time Emmy Award-winning producer and the president of the Denver Nuggets, one would think that VENN had all the resources they needed to start turning things around and redefine televised esports. Heading into 2021, VENN decided to retool its content and focus more on gaming and esports. Ariel Horn said in an interview, quote, "They are overwhelmingly asking for more esports, more gaming talk, game reviews, and spicy kinds of takes." So VENN announced a variety of new shows, the most popular of which was Origin Stories, hosted by founder of Optic Gaming, Hector Hex Rodriguez. VENN also secured the rights to pre-existing shows like FaceCheck, the wildly popular League of Legends talk show featuring Christian IW Dominate Riviera, Nick Ellis de Cesar, and Daniel Digon Gonzalez, who had been with VENN since the start. With the new direction and focus, the future was looking bright, and Horn said, quote, "My hope is that it is going to be a really great year for VENN, and that we'll look back and see that growth point starting from where we focused on short form. We had some great insight to increase our focus around core gaming and esports, and made some key deals that were critical. As the lifestyle of gaming continues to come further into the mainstream, we'll be here, and positioned with great distribution, partners, and a base of a TV network that will continue to grow over time." But the reality is that VENN was struggling, and to pump out content, they sometimes alienated their own talent. In June of 2021, with the hopes of capitalizing on the audience tuning into E3, VENN aired an intimate interview between 100 Thieves CEO Matthew Nadeshot Hag and his close friend Hector Hex Rodriguez. The two discussed the struggles of owning esports organizations and spoke openly about their experiences, sometimes getting onto some touchy subjects.
People talk about, yo, why have you won a championship? You know how hard it is to win in League of Legends when I got these teams spending $8 million on a roster in a year?
When it came out, the piece was a hit, but unfortunately, it was for all the wrong reasons. Soon after the piece was broadcast, Nadeshot took to Twitter to express his disappointment, as he wasn't allowed to review the interview before it was aired, a stipulation he made explicit before sitting down with Hex. Nadeshot said, quote, "Not one single second or asset was ever sent to me or reviewed. I had no idea this was happening, nor did I consent." VENN chalked this up to a miscommunication, and despite clearing things up with Nadeshot, the incident ended up tarnishing their reputation and did nothing to help their floundering viewership numbers. But VENN had bigger problems. There was a lot of money invested in them, and not much coming back out. With the high production quality of their shows and laughably low viewership, VENN simply could not support their content financially. As a result, in July of 2021, VENN brought on the accounting firm Armanino LLP to find a company to acquire or financially partner with VENN. A few weeks later, in August, as VENN hit on its 1-year anniversary, the network cut its losses and furloughed half its staff, significantly scaling down production and canceling shows like FaceCheck. Since then, VENN's social media has been completely inactive, and its website has been taken down as well, effectively leaving the company defunct. Apart from programming issues and being unable to build a core audience, with most of their shows turning into glorified Twitch streams, shortly after the network's launch, the original gaming network, G4 TV, also relaunched. While the type of programs the two networks had were significantly different, it was clear that G4 TV was much more popular due to the network's brand recognition and them bringing on hosts like Xavier Woods and Will Neff, along with original G4 hosts like Adam Sessler. But at the end of the day, the biggest issue was a disconnect. Let's illustrate this point by drawing a picture. On one side, you have people who still watch cable television every night. On the other side, you have people who love esports. If you were to say, draw a circle around the two, the tiny overlapping part in the middle is the audience that actually wants a dedicated gaming network. If we were to give this picture a name, we might call it a Venn diagram. Sorry. At the end of the day, VENN was just too ambitious of a project. Aiming to mix TV and live streaming with audience participation is difficult enough, and doing so 24/7 is almost impossible. Coupled with the fact that today's youth really lives online, on the internet, it shouldn't be too surprising that even with millions upon millions of dollars to work with, VENN ended up failing. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, and shout out to Jason B, Brendan QB, Foxy Mauve, Pachanas, Pin, Sierra Shampoo, Spartacus, and Yoshichi for being platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Steven, Noodles, Marco, and Flight for being diamond supporters. We appreciate all the support. If you want to talk to us, check out our Discord. If you want to support our channel and get info on unreleased videos, check out our Patreon. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah, thanks for watching.